Welcome back to the Marching to Madness College Basketball Zoomcast podcast with Coach Niko Medved back in here. Coach, Colorado State, the Rams, they go 20-8 a year ago. You were 14-4 in the Mountain West. And, you had that Final Four berth in the NIT. And the good thing about your team is you were able to keep kids home where they started.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun that these guys, group of guys that has stayed together and has grown together and has continued to have success. And I think we're a group that likes being around each other most days. But it's been a fun ride so far. And last year was a really good season, despite all the challenges. And I'm looking forward to getting out there again next year, and hopefully we can take it to the next level.
Well, Coach, before we get started on this year, you guys had a solid season, obviously. I thought you were an NCAA team, but, you manifested yourself. You showed well in the NIT. You had that 1 3-week period with COVID, and you played really well and consistent throughout what was the most unpredictable of seasons.
I thought so. And I thought we were really playing well before that 3-week COVID pause at the end of the season. And it was just unfortunate. And it wasn't us. It was just, our opponents had some issues, and we missed 3 weeks of games. And, but you know what? Everybody faced those kind of things throughout the year. And so, I thought we never really got our rhythm back completely after that. But, all in all, again, I thought our kids were pretty consistent throughout the season, and obviously disappointed we didn't make the NCAA tournament, but the guys rebounded nicely and made a little run in the NIT, and hopefully just that postseason experience this year that we got will benefit us going into next season.
I was doing some research and I see where you guys are turning to yoga this summer, talk about that idea, how it came about, and the byproducts of such an old tradition, from the Far East.
It's something that we had talked about doing, and we were able to incorporate into our summer workouts here this week. And I think the guys really enjoyed it. And anything that you can do to flexibility, mobility, all that stuff, I think is really, really good for these guys. And I thought it was helpful. I thought the guys enjoyed it, and hopefully it's something that we'll continue to do here moving forward.
Is that something you can do during the season?
I think so. I mean, obviously, a lot of things are good ideas. They got to be executable, obviously, within the hours that you have. But I do think it's something that we can continue to do, and continue to do as a team, and maybe even in small groups of guys who really need it. And, the seasons get long. I mean, this stuff takes a toll on your body. And yeah, I just think anything that you can do, that way to stay ahead of the curve, and, physically. And I think, the veteran guys are the guys that are always in the training room before practice, after practice, even on off days, just taking care of their bodies. And again, the seasons are long. You're always going to have, bumps and bruises and nicks, but the guys learn that you got to do anything you can to try to gain an edge.
Yeah, and it's good for mindfulness. I've done mindfulness training, and that gives you an edge when you can just focus and clear your mind out, for like a half hour. And that's another thing I think yoga is good for.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all, as coaches, we always preach to these guys and our teams about trying to, live in the moment, stay in the moment, focus on now. And that's very, very difficult to do with everything going on. And you're right. I think those kinds of things can also help with that. Just kind of slow your mind down and be where your feet are, so to speak. And I think, anything that you can do that way can be helpful.
Well, you return your top 6 scorers and 8 of your top 9. So, that is such a plus, I think, for the Rams. Talk about what you're seeing now, in your summer workouts that kind of show that togetherness, or maybe that veteran approach.
I think, people talk about in college basketball that, the key is you got to get old and stay old to be good. And for the most part, I agree with that. I think, older players and teams, veteran guys are guys that, have an opportunity to really win at the highest level. But I think the real trick is to get old stale, but also to have continuity in your program. And I think what's, happened with us is we've got all of it. We've got guys now that are experienced, that have played a lot of minutes at this level, older guys, stronger guys, but also continuity, guys that have been in our program, have been in our system now for a while. And I think, there's just a comfort level that way of, what we do, playing together, playing with each other. And you hope that's kind of what can help be a separator for us. But we're not alone. There's a lot of teams that in our league, I think, that have that same kind of thing going on. And so hopefully that gives us an advantage. But having both of those things has been really, really helpful.
Yeah, David Roddy comes back. Everybody in the Mountain West and nationally knows him. He's a leading scorer, leading rebounder from a year ago, 51.2% from the floor.
Yeah, he is. He's the most versatile player I've ever coached. We'll play him at all 5 positions. He just continues to get better and better. And, the other thing is I think he finished second in assists last year on our team. And so he's just a do-it-all kind of guy and can create for himself, can create for others. He's obviously an excellent rebounder. And I think he's the toughest matchup in the Mountain West. And so, and he's just a great young man. He just continues to learn how to lead and get better. And he's had a great summer here this far. And I look forward to him having a big season.
When you surround that 3-point line with a guy like Isaiah Stevens, who shot 42.7%, then you pop Kendle Moore and Adam Thistlewood in there. Talk about how these guys can set each other up for that 3-point shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have an unselfish group. I think we're a team that really moves the ball, and we have a lot of guys who can shoot, which creates space. And I think that you got to have great shooters, but you also have to have a team and guys that help each other get great shots. And I think it's the combination of both of those things that's allowed us to be an effective offensive team. And Isaiah Stevens is a special player. I mean, he's just got an unbelievable mentality and toughness about him, and he's such a competitor and continues to grow and get better, and is such an incredibly hard worker. And again, he's already been really, really good here his first 2 seasons, but I look forward to him even taking a step forward. And Kendle Moore and Adam Thistlewood, they're guys that have been with us from day one, and both excellent shooters, great competitors. And now they're entering their 4th year here of college basketball, and have started just about every game in their career. And so again, that leads to continuity and experience.
The teams choose to defend you generally with that many 3-point shooters and that many, versatile players that you throw on the floor?
I think teams, listen, once you get into league play, I mean, the scouting and the coaching is so good. I mean, people know what you're doing, and they know your schemes. And so I think, there's great coaches, teams that play great team defense, that have great length and athleticism. And so it's very, very difficult. But I think, for us, it's just we move the ball really well. We've got a lot of guys who can put the ball in the basket, and that mentality that it might be different guys on different nights. And it's also having a mentality when it doesn't go your way for a half, or you're struggling to not get frustrated and stay with it. And usually we find a way to break out and to start making shots, and the percentages even out. And so I think we're a team that has a lot of trust in what we do. And we don't get too high, we don't get too low, and we stay with it. And usually over the course of 40 minutes, we find a way to put some points on the board.
Coach James Moores started 21 games last year as a freshman. He's a 6'10" center, talented. I'm curious as to what you guys are looking to grow most in his game during the off season.
James as a kid, I thought he improved more than anyone on our team from the beginning of the season till the end, particularly defensively. I thought he got a lot better. The game slowed down for him. People forget he's a freshman, and he was a freshman last season. And I think the sky's the limit. I think he's a guy that can improve his offensive game, his footwork, his finishing, his ability to pass, and to even stretch the floor and make threes. He was going through a little bit of a foot injury here this summer. He wasn't with us the whole time, but he's recovering nicely. And I think he's a guy who can really take the next step. We've got a guy like him and Deshaun Thomas, 2 young, big guys who I thought got a lot better as the season went on. And I think they've really improved this summer, and hopefully they can take their game to the next level.
Yeah, transition offenses, obviously, we've been talking about the 3-point shot, but in transition, it's synonymous with your programs. Talk about the philosophy that you built and then how you developed this system.
Well, I've always been a guy that likes to play in transition. A lot of people talk about it, but we do it. It's a big emphasis in what we practice every day. And I'm a believer, with the shot clock being what it is. I think oftentimes you get your best shots in the first 8 to 10 seconds of the shot clock, or your last 8 to 10 seconds of the shot clock. And I think, you've got to really be aggressive and explore the entire shot clock to be an efficient offensive team. And, we tell our guys we want to take the first available great shot. Now, I'm the head coach. I get to decide what a great shot is. And I
Yeah.
think, that can be different in every situation and every player. But, I think our guys understand that. And we want our guys to play with a lot of freedom. We want them to play aggressive. And I think we're a team that's committed to running. And if you want to be a running team, you got to have 5 guys that are committed to running and spacing and moving the ball. And that's something that we practice and we emphasize, and our guys buy into it. And it's fun to play that way, but it takes a tremendous amount of discipline and focus to do that. But our guys buy into it. And it's been something that's been really, really good for us. And I think we're able to create a lot of good shots, and it's fun to play at that pace.
Do you think the shot clock rule will ever change? Will it ever go below 30, in your opinion?
It's interesting. Several years ago, I would have said, well, 30 was a good change when we went from 35 to 30. I'd actually be in favor of playing with a 24-second shot clock.
Yeah.
I think that there's maybe some pushback and all that from other people and maybe traditionalists, but I think that would be good for our game. I think that you see, all around the world, young players are playing with a 24-second shot clock. I think it could actually make the game better, force teams and players to have to play more aggressive. I think it would improve their skill level all the way around. And so I'd be in favor of a 24-second shot clock. I don't know if most of the coaches would agree with me,
Yeah.
but I would love to see it move in that direction.
Last thing, Coach, obviously, I'm excited for the NIL. I think it was high time all of these kids throughout sports could use, their name, image, and likeness rather than this free labor model that the NCAA has trudged around with for so long. With that thought and thinking about what else could happen to change, what do you see for college basketball in the next 5 years?
Boy, I mean, we just went through a year where there's been more change and things
Yeah.
happen maybe than, obviously anytime that I can remember in my life.
Mhm.
And I think, they're good changes. There's obviously going to be, nobody knows 100%, what this means or what this is going to evolve into, but I think it's a good first step.
Mhm.
Um, I think the one thing for me to predict what it's going to look like in 5 years, I don't know, but the one thing is it won't look the same as it does today,
Yeah.
but I think it's going to look great. I think that, a lot of times people are scared of change, and, not all of it's going to be positive. But I think you have to continue to evolve. And I think we're doing that. And I think the college basketball is a great game. It's survived changes, throughout time. And I think we'll do it again. And I have no doubt. And so I think it'll look different than it does, today. Obviously, the landscape of college athletics, not just basketball, is changing.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think we'll find our way. I really do. I think we'll find our way. It's a game that so many people love, and it's a fabric of society here, right in America. And I think
Mhm.
we'll continue to keep this game great. And I look forward to the future.
Coach Niko Medved, Fort Collins, Colorado, a beautiful town. If you've ever been there, Coach, it's always great to get you on here. Now we can see each other and talk.
Ken, I appreciate it. And I appreciate what you're doing for college basketball, and getting so many of these, so many great coaches here on your podcast. And
Thanks.
it's great. So I appreciate you.